So when it came to the album, how do you think it differs mostly from Return? What did you do differently this time?
Well, I mean, it's been recorded 2 years later, and that's really enough. I mean, you move on, and you pick up more records. I mean, we're constantly searching for music. You know, when we're on tour, I always go to like secondhand stores, try to find some more music, and it's kind of like the music you make is like a reflection of the music you've been listening to since the last album. So it will always be different.
Right.
It's like not a conscious move. It's like it's just there, you know. It's like charged somewhere, and you just use the inspiration you get, or that you have achieved since the last recording.
Right.
So it's like our idea is always try to develop, not repeating ourselves. I mean, there are enough bands that do that. The world doesn't need another band doing that, you know. We already have AC/DC, so what's the point?
Were there then certain artists or certain albums you listened to a lot before working on the album, or during even? That afterwards, that now you say that after an album is finished, you listen to it, that you kind of notice, oh, that I can hear some of that in it.
Well, I mean, maybe the two bands I've been listening to most to since Rytje was Deep Purple and UFO. So, but I don't think you can find any traces of that. I mean, well, maybe you can. I don't know.
Okay. What was the starting point then for In Times? Was there a specific moment where the band said, "Now we're gonna focus on the new record"?
Yeah, I remember that. I mean, Ivar made the opening track. It was actually the first track he made for In Times, the song called Thurisaz Dreaming. And the first rehearsal was at the 18th of December 2013. I remember that date specifically because it was Kato's, the drummer. It was the same date as his stag party, bachelor party. So we rehearsed for maybe 2 hours. Had the song going. Yeah, okay, cool. And then we just opened a bottle of booze and said, "This is your stag party. Get drunk, asshole."
And when that, I'm going to pronounce this, Thurisaz? Thurisaz. When this song was made, did you notice then that the songs that came afterwards for the record, that they kind of flowed towards that song?
The funny thing is, like, the order of the songs on the album is actually the order we made them. It was not intentionally. We just like, we saw on the back of the record when it was released, and I said to Ivar, you know that this is actually the exact same order we made the songs. And he was like, yeah, it's true. So they are really, really much connected.
And when it came to the lyrics then, did you have something in mind as an idea for what the record should say or should be about?
Yeah, we always have that. I mean, me and Eva would, before we start writing music and rehearse, we always have this concept meeting, and we kind of gather our ideas since the last time we recorded, and kind of decide the direction of the lyrics. I mean, like the platform, the lyrical concept. I mean, they're not that much connected, but I mean, it's like they're kind of inside the same frame, so to speak.
Right. Yeah. What frame did you pick then for in?
This is the concept of time. It's like everything is connected with time, like life, death, like the philosophical creation of the world, of the microcosmos and the macrocosmos. So everything is like connected with the concept of time. So it's kind of like life, death, magic, doom.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to the writing, and do you read a lot about theories about time and ways to think about time, or is it your own views on what time is?
It's pretty much our own interpretation of both life, mythology, philosophy, metaphysics. I mean, we're not Heidegger or Nietzsche or anything like that, but I mean, at least we try not to copy anything. We try to interpret the old myths of the world, like the old nature religions, like and we try to find similarities between contemporary life in the modern world, and we try to find the reflection of that in the Norse mythology and the Greek mythology and Roman mythology, even Indian mythology. So that's kind of what we try to find, like a kind of a human interpretation of life, or the way to approach life. And that's kind of what we do. I mean, there's so much we don't know. So I mean, we're like the nerds of mythology. We try to interpret that, why they actually worship the sun, why they worship the water, stuff like that. Like we try to find the sources of the primal rituals of man. It sounds a little artificial, I know that.
No, but I get what you're saying. But do you find answers to those kind of questions, or is it more of a relative interpretation?
It's a relative. I mean, it's very. To find answers is very utopic. So to use a cliche, I mean, the journey is the actual answer. The search is the answer.
Right.
Yeah. Because the final solution, the final answer, is utopia. Impossible to achieve. It's like trying to understand the universe.
Right.
The human mind are not capable of doing that. But I mean, the essential thing is always be on the hunt.
Right.
For the answers.
And if we take the track listing, there are 6 songs. If you had to pick one, which one do you think you got closest to some sort of answer to something?
Well, it's probably the last song, Daylight, which is like, if you read the lyrics, it seems very negative, but I mean, it's actually the total opposite. Okay. It's like to be able to create something, to be able to have a new start, a new dawn, you have to tear something down. So it's kind of like a personal Ragnarok. Right. Kind of like the mythological 9 steps, and then you die, and then you have a new ascension. And so it's actually a very positive thing.
It's like the inevitable circle of life, the way.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I interpret it. But when you come up, you said you have these kind of concept meetings. Where do these concepts come from? Are they connected to something that happened to you personally along the way, or just?
I mean, it can be like that, or it's like if you write a lyric. I mean, you can get a little spark. You can watch a movie. You can have a conversation. You can watch something that happens, a fight on the street, or it can be anything and nothing. And then you start. The wheels starts to spin. I have like ideas. Maybe from I can get an idea in 1993, and it's spinning around in my head for 15 years, and then I finally write a lyric about it. It's just about the right time and the right riff, the right music, and so inspiration can come from practically everywhere.
Right.
No, it doesn't matter where it comes from. It's like as long as it gives inspiration, starts a certain process. It can be a television show, a book.
Do you remember what triggered Daylight? What that trigger was? That initial trigger?
It was probably what I told you about death and the 9 steps, the 9 mythological steps of Norse mythology. The steps to Ragnarok, the Armageddon, and the uprising of the new world, of the new set of mind, a more healthy dawn. So I would say the biggest inspirational source is probably the Old Norse poem Vålesbo.
Okay. Yeah. And was this something you had read, I imagine, way before, or was this something you just recently?
Yeah, we read the poem like when we at school when we were like 30 years ago. So yeah.
What made you revisit that, or was it something like you just said? It can be inside you for 15 years and then all of a sudden pop up. And
Yeah, but I mean, this is like kind of our history, and this is the closest thing we are rooted to, you know. So it's a natural thing for us to kind of dig into that and try to, you know, make our own interpretation of those weird old phrases.
Right.
Yeah.
And then finally, then going back to the panel, there was a discussion about how the music consumption has changed, where you had to go and trade tapes. There was more anticipation, more excitement, and now it's at a click of a finger, available at the click of a finger. So, do you think it's inevitable now with the way that music works, Spotify, that kind of stuff, that music it cannot be consumed the way it used to be?
Well, I mean, it will never go back to, I mean, not exactly how it was, because that's impossible, of course. And but I still think we have an advantage in rock and metal, because we still have buyers, we still have like people that are concerned about physical format, and we still have artwork, we still have lyrics that mean something to people. It's not like hip hop or pop music or, you know, popular music. I mean, you just download a file. And nobody buys a pop CD, you know, with just a picture of the dude on the cover.
Right.
I mean, metal bands, we still pay a lot of money to an artist to make an album cover. It costs like 2,000 euros at least.
Right.
And it really means something to us. It really means something to our fans, the physical format, and you know, listen to the music while, you know, looking at the cover, reading the lyrics. It's still something that is really, really important. And you cannot achieve that feeling by downloading a stupid file. That's just not possible. So the physical format or vinyl or cassette or LPs, it will never vaporize in metal.
And in that sense, finally, then you've been in music for over 20 years now. Has your approach to the music then changed because of how the music industry has developed?
Well, not really. I mean, the only thing that's changed, I mean, 20 years ago, you could still earn money by releasing albums. And that is totally gone. So nowadays, it's like you earn money on live playing and merchandise.
Okay.
So an album, this is weird. I mean, an album is like a tool to promote your shows.
Right.
While 20 years ago, it used to be the opposite. So it's pretty strange.
Okay, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.